Hey, what is up YouTube? This is TheTimeWizard here, coming at you guys with a deck profile. I know it's been a while, but we're going to be doing Fluffals today, so walk us through it.
Alright, one of my favorite things about Fluffal, just to start, is it's really not cookie cutter by any means, nor is it top tier at the moment. Will it ever be? Probably not. But it's enjoyably fun to play, and every build is different you see online, so let's just hop into it. So, 3 Fluffal Dog, I'd say that's pretty much standard, your Stratos. So, 3 Sheep, I choose to play 3 Sheep because it's a 2-card combo with any of the Fluffals, and it's a +1 when you bounce your Fluffal back and bring back an Edge Imp. Provided that you have a Poly or a Fright for Factory searched previously from Edge Imp Chain's effect, 1-card Fluffal Dog makes Sheep, brings back an Edge Imp for a free fusion every time, every single turn as well. So that's why I play the 3 Sheep. I know some might disagree, but I very much would advise 3 Sheep. But 2, no problem with 2. So next is 2 Owl. I'd say 3 is a little bit too much because you have the 2 Poly. There's really never need to play more than 2, simply just because. You can search out Poly by other means. Some people play King of the Swamp, that's all fine and dandy. I think 2's fine, 3 is just a bit too much. The 1 Bear, I cut it to 1, but I think I might go back to 2, because Vendor, in my opinion, is one of the best spell cards in the deck, because you'll pitch whatever you need, you know, fodder. You could pitch Vendor with Vendor, you could pitch any of the Edge Imps, especially Chain, and get +1s off of it, which is great. But I think 2 would be great as well, and I also thought about putting double Cyclone into the deck, and I think that would work out pretty well as well. The 1 Fluffal Rabbit, I also might cut this at the same time as bumping this back up to 2, just because it works well when you fusion it, when you use it as a material, because you'll grab back your dog, but I never really do it that much. It's normally once a match at most, so I may just cut it just because I don't see very much use with it actually being in the deck. It just looks better on paper, in my opinion. That's it for the Fluffals. The Edge Imps, I play 3 Chain. 2 is perfectly fine, but I prefer the 3 because oftentimes you'll grab the search by attacking, oftentimes you'll discard it with Vendor, and it's just overall a great card to have because it's fodder and it's a +1. 2 Saw, 1 is not enough because there are plenty of times where you have the Vocasaur ship on its monsters, and if you're only playing 1 and you happen to have to Miracle Fusion for it or Fright for Fusion for it, that's your only 1, and it kind of sucks. So 2 is much better. Also, the 2 for 2 effect on it with discarding a Fluffal works out really well, especially with Vendor, because you can stack a Fluffal back on top, use Vendor, and go about your day. And then the last Edge Imp is the 1 Sabers. I think 1 Sabers is just fine. There's no Tiger at the moment. I will definitely bump it up to 2, maybe even 3 when Tiger comes out, because Tiger's amazing. But let's face it, Wolf is 2000, and you don't really play Bear too much at all. But nevertheless, you gotta play it anyway, I think. And for the last monster, Tour Guide, you know, your targets, Sabers and Saw. Makes it rank 3. Spells, 3 Vendor. I think it's standard. I've seen 2, which I think is fine, but I do prefer the 3. It opens up the possibility of discarding Vendor, opening up multiple Vendors, which is really good, in my opinion. And it just improves the overall consistency of the build. Next is 2 Fright for Factory. I've considered playing it at 1. I have tested it at 1, but I do prefer the 2, just in case you happen to mill it off of Vendor by chance. And it's a continuous polymerization. It's pretty good. 2 Fright for Fusion. I may put it up to 3, but I'm finding 2 to be just fine because I'll search it out whenever I need it because I play 3 Edge Imp Chain. 2 Poly, I think 2 is good where it's at. 1 Fusion Conscription, it works with your factory, and you can add any of the materials you may need from your deck to your hand and continue that turn without having to wait to activate Fusion Reserve or something like that. And then just spell staples, Dark Hole, Regeki, and Pokemoon.
Alright.
And this is a little bit more trap heavy than I've seen other Fluffal decks play. But 3 Fusion Reserve, I think this card's just too good right now. It's pretty much the trap card version of Preparation of Rites. You'll grab whatever you need, oftentimes Edge Imp Chain, because that's a +1 when you use it for a material, and you'll grab your polymerization back, which I think is phenomenal. I may put it down to 2 though, just for the sake of drawing it too many times, but nevertheless, I'm never upset when I draw it. It's a good card. 2 Fiendish. If I cut Reserve down to 2, Fiendish will go to 3. Fiendish is one of the best generic trap cards in the game right now. I think it's great. Double Mind Crush. I think Double Mind Crush is too good not to main deck at times, and it just works well with most, if not all, meta decks.
It's just too good this format.
Yeah, I agree. And then just the 1/ofs, Vanities, Compulse, Bottomless. They get a head card, the bounce, and they get rid of a card. That's fine. Extra deck, yeah, it's about as standard as it's going to get. The 1 Bear, for the sake of Fusion Reserve, and it's there if you need it, I guess. I really don't use it too much. 2 Sheep. Sometimes I feel as if I should be playing 3 because I always have the option to play 3, but oftentimes I just go through 2. I think 2's fine, especially for the amount of space that the Fluffals actually take up in the extra deck is huge. 2 Leo for the 2 Volcasaurus plays. Gotta have the 2.
Nice.
And 2 Wolf. I'm perfectly fine with just playing 1. But just for the sake of the build, I think 2's there just in case you just need it. In case you just need to poke for 8,000 right off the bat with a Poly and then a Fright for Fusion. 1 Chimera. I've never played it in real life, but it's there. Yeah. The 1 Dark Law, because I do side deck Mass Change 2, though we won't be doing a side deck in this profile just because it's built for locals. And then Exceeds, you got Rebellion, Exiton, 101. Cowboy, Leviathan, and Downard. I'm not a fan of Leviathan. I would throw in a Leviair instead. I just don't have one. But yeah, that's the build.
That'd definitely be the change if you had a Leviair, you'd throw that in over the Leviathan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so what do you like best about the deck?
The best about a deck is not only the entertainment that you get out of the deck, but at the same time the consistency and speed that comes with it. Granted, it doesn't really beat the top decks all the time, otherwise it would top, but I think it's very fast and consistent.
And with the current meta, what would you say is your best matchup?
My best matchup, honestly, would be Shadows, simply because Sheep gets over everything except Shekinagua, and that's what Leo's for. I feel as if this build is as fast as Shadows, unless they open up with the whole Scepter play.
Yeah.
And especially with Sheep, you run over, they get no graveyard effects, and they get no flip effects as well.
Yeah, there was multiple times today I saw you had like a full field and like still had like 5-6 cards in hand. It's pretty ridiculous. What would you say is your worst matchup?
Necros, absolutely.
Yeah.
You'll make 2 Sheep, you'll make a Leo and a Sheep, and they'll either Brio it, because that's actually a thing, or they'll just Trish you, and then it's game over.
Yeah, and that's just sort of how the meta's working out right now. But any final things to say before we end the video?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about it, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to answer them, and I'll get back to you guys with that. But as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.